Yeah. Two. Yeah. Aye.
Got over money.
I'm jacking the beat, you calling the cops. The yapping is cheap, I call you the ops. The rapping is heating, it's all cause of pop. You get a leak for the ball, get a drop. Feel like I'm wrong when I double it back, cause I'm making it harder to catch that. But I covered the ticket, I call you to visit. You tipping and hit up the cash app. Baby girl, been around for it, yeah. In the old days, I was stuck in old ways. Never really trying to flip the old page. Young man tripping at an old age. Thinking I was flicking, had a low wage. Led the bro days, then a slow praise. Thinking it'd be different, it would gon' change, then it really didn't. It's a cold game, yeah. Ay, all I really wanted was the money in the pocket. Got over money, but the money ain't the topic. Like Bill Doe and the money gotta stop it. Kid need food and the whip need juice. I'ma get these views when work hard, play hard, homeboy, everybody ain't calling out. Got a mouthpiece from the southeast, if you want scrap, stall him out. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then I feel good, man, I'm balling out. I'm a rich man with a rich fam, Christ bars got me out of mama house. And I bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Big God, big grace. Big God, big grace. Big God, big grace. Big God, big grace. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Big God, big grace.
What it do, baby? It's your partner Dale, looking old, so fresh, cold, clean. You see that thing? Take the picture for your mom, them guys. And welcome to a Wednesday night Countermove podcast. Again, when it comes to the Countermove guys, we lean in, take an issue, lean in, reason together, and come up with a wise solution. If you're looking for a debate, do me a favor and get out of here. But if you could, share, like, and subscribe, guys. And today, guys, we're doing a special one tonight, guys. Something happened yesterday. I'm going to dive right in. I don't want to waste your time, and thank you for blessing me with your time. An issue came up concerning President Trump yesterday. And it was President Trump being ruled ineligible in the 2024 election ballot by the Colorado Supreme Court. There's been a lot of commentary on this independently and by the legacy media as well, guys. But let's dive into this real quickly, guys. I want you guys to hear when it actually came out, guys. I want you to hear it, and then we'll dive into both sides. Here we go. Let's see what's going down. Here we go.
And breaking news, the Colorado Supreme Court has declared Donald Trump ineligible for presidency under Constitution's insurrection clause. The decision from a court whose justices were all appointed by Democratic governors marks the first time in history that Section 3 of the 14th Amendment has been used to disqualify a presidential candidate. Trump's attorneys had promised to appeal any disqualification immediately to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Now, here we go, guys. Coming back into me real quickly. Yes, the Colorado Supreme Court they made a ruling that President Trump was ineligible to be on the primary ballot, right? Not the general election, but the primary ballot. And it's kind of surprised a lot of people concerning this. And I said, okay, cool. Let's dive into it. And again, a lot of commentary, guys, and you know me. This is not going to be a political show. This is going to be where we kind of look at this issue, kind of lean in, and we're going to reason together, right, guys? So let's dive into this real quickly here. MSNBC actually brought on the lawyer who actually fought to have Trump kicked off the Colorado ballot. He's reacting to the ruling because he was actually in the courtroom arguing this case for Trump to get off. Let's see what he actually has to say about this whole thing. Here we go. Let's see what's going down. Here we go.
Joining us now is Mario Nicholas, an attorney who was part of a team that represented the 6 Colorado voters who brought this case. Mario, thanks for joining us. First, just your reaction to the court's decision.
Thank you for having me. Our reaction is we think the court made a fantastic decision. They made a well thought through decision. Okay. It's over 130 pages, just the decision. Okay. And I think that we have a very good chance going forward if Donald Trump does, in fact, decide to appeal.
So this was a...
Just to kind of come in real quickly, guys, he is making the claim that their case is extremely strong. And to be honest with you, they were anticipating for the Trump team to appeal this. So Just off the bat right there, this lets me know, guys, that they understood that this may have been on some sketchy type of footing here. But let's keep going a second what he's going. So they anticipated for an appeal to happen. Here we go.
A 4-3 decision, though, which we mentioned, and that's important because it wasn't unanimous. And these were all judges who were appointed by Democratic governors. Does that give you pause at all about what the U.S. Supreme Court, which is 6-3, might do with this?
It doesn't. I think it's important to note that the judges that did dissent here, 2 of them dissented on state law grounds, which the U.S. Supreme Court is not going to review.
So it seems to be, guys, that what he's saying is based on the 3 dissenting judges, right? He was saying that they made their case just solely on the state law, and what he's saying is the Supreme Court is not going to rule on state law. Okay, so it seems like a lot of their legal standing is on the state side. Let's keep going. Let's see exactly what they have to say about this as well. Here we go. Let's keep going. Here we go.
So really what you're looking at is more of a 4-1. And I think that one of the things you have to look at is how detailed the majority's opinion here is, how much it went into. The legal standards that it set out are so well thought through and so well documented that we think we've got a really good chance at the U.S. Supreme Court. For example, they quoted Justice Gorsuch, who did remove a presidential candidate from the ballot here in Colorado previously, about a decade ago. Little over a decade ago. So I think when you look at that and you look at the case law and you look at the history that we have from the time that this was adopted, the 14th Amendment was adopted, we have really strong arguments before the U.S. Supreme Court.
So what he's saying is he's basing a lot of this on, he's saying precedents, case law, and he says history points toward this being a good move. We're going to see, but let's keep going. He's not completely done. All right, here we go. Let's keep it going.
One of the dissenting opinions in this case comes from the Chief Justice on the Colorado Supreme Court, who writes this: "My opinion that this is an inadequate cause of action is dictated by the facts of this case, particularly the absence of a criminal conviction for an insurrection-related offense." So, Mario, if Trump hasn't been convicted of any insurrection, can he be punished for engaging in an insurrection?
Good question.
Well, so I have a great deal of respect for Chief Justice Boatwright, but I think he just got this plain wrong. And the reason is because the 14th Amendment is not a criminal statute. We're not imposing some sort of criminal punishment on him. It just says he's not eligible to run for office again. And that's what the Constitution says. It's a different standard of review. It's not beyond reasonable doubt like in a criminal hearing. In this case, we cleared the clear and convincing bar. And furthermore, the history of the 14th Amendment says that that's just wrong. Many Confederates were never convicted of a crime, but were barred from actually holding office or running for office immediately after the passage of the 14th Amendment. So the history of the 14th Amendment, which I think is important to SCOTUS members, when they look back and they want to go through originalism and they want to go through textualism, they want to say, well, how did the people who wrote this, how did they act? Well, they didn't require convictions. And so I think that's going to be incredibly important here. And that's why the Chief Justice got that question wrong.
So what he's saying is, he's saying that the Chief Justice is basing his entire dissent on Trump not being convicted of insurrection, or there's no conviction clause in the Constitution concerning Amendment 14th Amendment, I believe it's Section 3. So he's saying that the Chief Justice got it wrong, but he then said that he began talking about the history and the Confederates as well. So he's actually saying that the history and case law, really the history, stands on their side. We're going to test it out here in a second, guys. But I wanted to give this gentleman the uninterrupted time frame to unpack this real quickly. He's not done, y'all. He's almost done. Here we go.
One of the key questions here is whether Section 3 of the 14th Amendment covers the presidency.
Good question.
Initially, the district court there in Colorado concluded that the presidency is not an office, civil or military, under the United States. And because of that, the district court had ruled in Trump's favor. Can you explain why you believe Section 3 of the 14th Amendment does apply to Donald Trump?
Okay, good question.
Yeah, and this was something that we argued at length before the Colorado Supreme Court.
Okay.
It's parsing words about whether the president is an officer of the United States or an office under the United States. And we think that it was very clear, and we set this out in our briefing and argued it before the Colorado Supreme Court, and I think they understood it, that it wouldn't make any sense for the president not to be an officer of the United States, and for the most powerful position in the country to be exempt from the same thing that they were trying to stop people from doing after the Civil War. For example, if their reading was right and he wasn't an officer of the United States, Jefferson Davis could have been president after Abraham Lincoln. There is no one who drafted the 14th Amendment who thought that that would be appropriate.
Just real quick,
and in this case, go ahead.
So he's saying that. So he's saying, guys, he's saying that the office of the president is an officer of the U.S. of the government. He said he's an officer, right? So his whole thing is he's under the USA umbrella, right? So he's an officer of the government. That's what he's actually saying. Okay, we're going to test all this out, right? Don't you worry. Your partner got you. Let's keep going. I want to be fair. Here we go.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I do want to ask before I let you go. This is obviously a legal win for you, but are you worried at all about the political upheaval this could cause?
Political, okay.
Look, the way that we look at it is you can't pick and choose what parts of the Constitution that you abide by.
Okay.
That's the Constitution that we live by as Americans, and it's a rule of law country. And if we don't have rule of law, then we don't have much of a country. And so that's the important piece to us. I think that's what we have focused on. And certainly we think that political upheaval, if we abandon the rule of law, will be far greater than if we say, hey, we need to make sure that everyone is playing by the rules, and that we have a country that is worth defending and a constitution that is worth defending.
Mario Nicholas.
Okay. Guys, coming back to me real quickly here, man. He's saying that they have a legal case that is based on case law, history, and precedents. And he is not concerned at all about the politics, because he said they actually have a legal case that stands on the law and history. That's what he's actually saying. We're going to put all that to the test. Okay. I am not an attorney at all, period. But I understand how to reason and how to reason together, right? So now let's bring on other liberal or Democrat attorneys, and they actually have a view on the Supreme Court decision as well. Let's bring them in, guys, and see what they actually have to say, because this gentleman that argued the case in front of the court is fairly confident about this. We're going to put this to the test real quickly with other legal minds, all right? That are not, they're not conservative at all. They are Democrats. They vote Democrat. Let's see what they say. This is Jonathan Turley, all right? And let's see what he has to say about this as well. He's a constitutional attorney. Let's see what he has to say. But here we go.
Hey, thank you to him. Mark Meredith, Jonathan Turley joining us now, Fox News contributor and a constitutional law attorney. Jonathan, thanks for joining us on the week leading up to the holidays here.
Thank you.
Just looking at the map of the other states with lawsuits to bar Trump from the ballot. What does all this mean? And what does it mean big picture? Are we going to
look at all these states, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry. Hold on. Pending appeals. I'm sorry. One. There's one, but there's cases in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. There's 16 states that's looking at this stuff like this. But let's keep going.
see more of this happen?
I expect we will. We may have a decision out of Maine, but there's the proponents of this, what I consider a very dangerous theory, have gone to various states in search of judges who might sign off on this. This is their first real victory. They've had a string of defeats, and many of those jurists that have turned this down have been Democrats. Keep in mind that the divided...
So what Jonathan Turley is saying is he's saying that this has been done in other states, right? And he's saying that other Democrats have said this is unconstitutional. So he's not going to bring up the conservative side. This is all on the liberal side by another liberal. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Let's see what we got to say. Let's keep it going.
Colorado Supreme Court was actually entirely composed of Democratic nominees.
Yes, they are.
But 3 of them refused to sign on to this opinion.
Okay.
And I think the reason why is that it's dead wrong. It's wrong on the history. It's wrong on the Constitution.
Very interesting. Here's
So Jonathan Turley is saying from a legal standpoint and from a historical standpoint, this decision is completely wrong. So he's on the other side of the attorney that was presenting this in front of the Colorado Supreme Court. Let's see what it says on why it's not. Here we go. That's what he got to say.
Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold reacting to this ruling, Jonathan.
Section 3 of the 14th Amendment has to apply to the presidency, because if not, it's a get out of jail free card. We can't have one off.
So the Secretary of State for Colorado was saying that it has to apply to the presidency. So if it has to, is it in the 14th Amendment or not? Because if it's there, there's no has to, because the verbiage would actually be there. But let's keep going and see what Jonathan Turley actually says about this as well also. All right, here we go. Let's see what he got to what's going on.
Office be able to do whatever they want when it comes to rebellion, and then be able to be seated in office again.
You say what, Jonathan?
Okay.
Well, it's a curious argument because it's not a get out of free card, because there's laws governing insurrection and incitement, and notably, Trump was not charged with that. You had a very...
So Jonathan Turley is saying from the get-go, the Secretary of State of Colorado is saying that if this is not done, the president has a get out of jail free card, basically. Jonathan Turley says, no, there's actually laws on the books that actually govern the president as well when it comes to impeachment as well also. So he's going to go into why he disagrees with this in a second. And he does a great job doing this. Here we go.
Very motivated special counsel in Jack Smith, who hit Trump with anything he could, but he conspicuously left out incitement, insurrection, sedition, because he couldn't prove it, because the evidence is not there. So Jonathan is saying is insurrection and sedition, there is no evidence at all there. If that was the case, Jack Smith would have charged Trump with those two crimes. So why hasn't Trump been charged for those crimes if that is the case? That's why the Secretary of State keeps saying that the president has to be under there. That's why I keep saying, where's the evidence of this? Let's keep going. It only adds to the problems here, but the real issue for the Supreme Court is far more fundamental and frankly chilling. You know, this country is the most successful and stable constitutional system in history.
Yeah.
Now, after 2 centuries of that, what these 4 justices have done was to introduce a destabilizing element in that system. And it's going to go to the Supreme Court. And this may be the ultimate challenge for Chief Justice Roberts.
Yeah.
I don't have much question they will overturn this decision.
Wow.
But they should do it unanimously. They should do it in one voice. All 9. Not divide on this. It's too important not to speak as one.
Yeah, that is something to watch for.
Wow.
Meanwhile, we remember moments like...
Well, guys, that is Jonathan Turley going on. He's saying from a legality standpoint and from a historical standpoint, this was a wrong decision. He actually gave facts, evidence of why this was a wrong decision. The reason why, number one, he actually said was if Trump is so much guilty of sedition and insurrection, Why hasn't the special counsel charged him with those statutes? Now, the other attorney that was arguing in front of the Colorado Supreme Court, he was saying that the 14th Amendment and the 14th Amendment Section 3 is not a criminal statute. So that's what he's saying there. So Jonathan was really hinting upon the legality and the criminal side of it as well, and also what type of harm this causes to the election, to our election process. That was Jonathan's side. Again, Jonathan is a Democrat. He's a liberal. And he has not voted Republican at all. That's him. And he said he's not going to vote for Donald Trump. So he is not a pro-Trump guy at all, period. Now, let's go to another person that's going to bring in the historical side of this as well. Let's see here. Give me 1 second, guys. This is another attorney who is a Democrat. Right, he's a Democrat, liberal, and he said he is not voting for Trump. I'm bringing this up for case because you guys know what the conservative side is going to say. Here we go. This is Alan Dershowitz. Okay, see what he has to say about it as well. Here we go.
Law professor emeritus and the author of Get Trump, as well as The War Against Jews. Alan Dershowitz is with us once again. Alan, good to see you. Thanks for weighing in here. Your reaction to this Colorado ruling?
It's clearly unconstitutional. The Constitution provides specifically for disqualification for people who fought in the Civil War. Now, Trump's old, but not old enough to have fought in the Civil War. It also
so from the get-go, Alan is talking about, he goes right to the history and right to the Constitution. He says this was constructed during the Civil War. And he said for the Confederate side, right? Now he's going to go into why it's being done. So Alan is going in a different way than Jonathan Turley went in. Let's see what Alan has to say. Here we go.
Leaves it to Congress to decide what this means, because it's very open-ended. If the Colorado court were to be correct, it would just basically...
So from the get-go, he's saying the Constitution states that this interpretation is left up to Congress, not the Colorado Supreme Court, not the judiciary side. It's left up to Congress. So he's going right to this to the Constitution, right to Amendment 14, to 14th Amendment, right to Section 3. He's going right there. Here we go. Let's see what's going on. Here we go.
Basically amend the constitutional rules on impeachment.
Wow.
After all, insurrection is an impeachable offense. And if they were to impeach him under that provision, you'd need a vote of the House, 2/3 of the Senate. But the way the Colorado court, consisting of all Democrats, absurdly interpreted this provision,
wow, he said
all
absurd.
You have to do is get anybody saying, well, I think what he did was an insurrection. What Black Lives Matters did was an insurrection. What Eugene V. Debs, who ran for president 100 years ago, did was an insurrection. There's no process. There's no procedure for how you decide it. Do you need a conviction? Do you need a vote of some kind by some legislative body? You can't just have a provision that's self-enforcing. And the provision itself says,
listen,
the Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation this article, but they haven't done it. So there is no.
So Alan is reading directly from the Constitution, and it says Congress shall actually add clarity to this. Congress, not a state Supreme Court. Congress, he read directly from the Constitution. It's clear, and he actually asked those questions. There's a conviction that needs to be done. He said because it's very broad. That amendment is very broad. So that's the reason why he's saying the framers put the Congress makes a decision and not a state Supreme Court. Directly from the Constitution. We're going to read it. No problem. It is what it is. Here we go. Don't worry about it. Here we go.
There's nothing to this argument. It's just a political ploy. It is the most undemocratic decision imaginable, taking away the right to vote.
Wow.
Forget about Trump's right to run. It's your right.
It says this is the 14th Amendment, Section 3. Let's read it together, y'all, for the folk in the back row. No person shall hold any office who, having previously taken an oath to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid to the enemies thereof. Now, there's some periods there as well. So that's section 3. Now, we're going to actually read this together, the entire thing. Don't you worry. Here we go.
Right to vote, because if this can be done in Colorado, it can be done in New York, it can be done in Florida, it can be done in purple states.
Sure can.
And it will mean the election is determined by 7 judges or a dozen judges in different states rather than by the people of the United States. It's the most undemocratic, unconstitutional.
This is the Colorado GOP. They came out and said you won't have to. You won't have to, because we will withdraw from the primary as a party and convert to a pure caucus system if it is allowed to stand. So there's a countermove already in place that the Colorado GOP is already saying they're going to do. Okay, here we go.
Constitutional decision I've seen in a long time, and I think it's very clear the Supreme Court should reverse this quickly and put an end to this nonsense.
I mean, so Alan Dershowitz is saying that the Supreme Court, he totally disagrees with this ruling. He said the Supreme Court should override this in a second rules in a second, right? And he went directly to the Constitution and actually read it from there. So this is not hype. He's not breaking. This is not a theory. He's reading directly from the Constitution. So he went to the historical and legal side immediately. I like that. That's honesty. Let's keep going. Here we go.
I know that very few people were expecting Trump to win Colorado, but doesn't this create a precedent for other states to come up with the same? I spoke with former Trump White House Associate Counsel May Mailman in the last hour. She says the only thing protecting Americans and democracy right now is the Supreme Court. Watch this.
This is about our democracy. When the Democrats say our democracy is at stake, it is, because they're trying to destroy it. What really this is about is the left has engaged in an unmitigated campaign against the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court right now is the only thing protecting Americans and our democracy before it crumbles.
Okay.
So what do you think the timing is, Alan? Do you think the timing is going to be quick? Will the Supreme Court take it up? Will they make a decision quickly?
It has to, because the decision was stayed until early January. The ballots in Colorado are going to be printed fairly soon. So the Supreme Court will probably stay the decision immediately, then consider it over a period of time, and then render a decision. You know, even technically, and I hate to look at the Constitution technically, but even technically, the 14th Amendment provision doesn't apply to a president. It could have said, no person shall be a president, senator, or representative. It doesn't. Then it gives the oath of office, but it gives the senatorial and congressional oath of office, not the presidential oath of office. The presidential oath of office uses a different word than the other two, and that was the basis for the lower court decision. But this court swept all of that away and rendered this decision, first time in history, after Eugene V. Debs ran for president. He was an overt socialist who could have easily been found to have participated in insurrectionary activities. But nobody imagined that this would be used against the presidential candidate.
That's correct.
This is just part of the get Trump attempt to prevent him from running. Look, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I want to have the right to vote against Trump, just like you have the right to vote for Trump. And that right can't be denied us by a Colorado court or by a Michigan court or by any court. It's just not the way the Constitution operates. If Congress did this, that would present a very interesting constitutional issue. But without Congress passing a statute, setting out procedures, how many votes you need. After all, to remove a president, you need 2/3 of the Senate. An almost impossible burden. Imagine that the framers of the 14th Amendment would say, oh, let's get an easy way around the impeachment and just say that anybody can make the claim that it's an insurrection and he won't be able to run for president.
Well, it's a good point.
So guys, that is Alan Dershowitz, guys. And what he's saying is this here. He went directly to the Constitution, and he said that if you look at the 14th Amendment, Section 3, it details out what offices that this oath that they're talking about. And he detailed that in the Constitution, the office of the president and vice president are not even mentioned in that section. And also the oath that the president and the vice president take or use different wording than what the offices that the Senate and the House take, which are offices that are actually mentioned in the 14th Amendment. So this is what he went directly to the Constitution, not theory, not he has to. He's reading it verbatim, right? He read it verbatim. That's exactly what he did. So he and Jonathan Turley, both Democrats, or said they disagree entirely with this. And another thing, guys, the Colorado Supreme Court overruled a lower court that said that what they were trying to do was unconstitutional. So a lower court in Colorado said this is unconstitutional. They slapped it down. Well, this group went to the Colorado Supreme Court and they overruled a lower court, which was in this area, it's really kind of unprecedented when it comes to a constitutionality standpoint, guys. So very interesting to do. It's all good. But now, guys, let's go over to I'm bring in someone on the conservative side, Dan Bongino, and I'm bringing him up because of the fact that he actually brings up the Constitution itself, right? So let's bring him up real quickly and see what this actually says. And let's look at the 14th Amendment because he's going to bring that up, right? Here we go.
Here's the 14th Amendment that they used ridiculously to remove Trump from the ballot in Colorado. Notice the president as an office never appears in the 14th Amendment at all outside of elector.
Here we go. So let's read this real quick together. It says, no person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president or vice president, not president, elector of president and vice president, or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or a judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States shall be engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. Here is the point that this is the point that Alan Dershowitz was actually pointing to. But Congress may by a vote of 2/3 of each house remove such disability. It didn't say a Supreme Court. It didn't say a state court. It said Congress, directly from the 14th Amendment. Not theory, not has to. This is exactly where it's from. Let's keep going. Here we go.
No person shall be a senator. Is Trump running for the U.S. Senate, Joe?
No, Dan.
Okay. Is he running for a representative in Congress?
No.
Is he running to be an elector of the president or vice president?
Hell no.
Okay. Is he running for a civil or military or holding any technical office under the United States he's been appointed to, not elected to? You don't think so? You would be correct. You would be correct. Joe, one more here. Is he running for state legislature?
No.
Let's throw one more. An executive or judicial officer of a state, not the United States. Is he running for that? No, he's not. That's correct. I think that's 6 or 7. So he's not even, so this doesn't even apply to Donald Trump at all. So how come Colorado kicked him off the ballot using the 14th Amendment? Because they made it up. Because why? Because why? Because why?
So simple, guys. I brought this up because I wanted you guys to see what it said. Let me read that first section again for the folk in the back row. No person shall be a senator or a representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president. Not the president and vice president, elector of that president and vice president. Trump's not running for any of this at all. So do you see? So this is not theory. This is not this innuendo. These are facts. These are facts. So from a historical standpoint, president standpoint, and original standpoint, which is the points that the individual in that was on MSNBC was saying there, he's off. He's incorrect. Jonathan Turley, as well as Alan Dershowitz, are spot on. Not based on opinion, based on the 14th Amendment, which is right in front of your face. It's clear. There's nothing to debate at all. Sorry. So if anyone is saying anything different, guys, I'm sorry. It's right. It's right there in your face. I don't understand. I don't even know what to tell you. He's not running for senator, or a representative of Congress, or an elector of president and vice president, or any military offices, state senator, none of that. That applies to the president and the vice president at all. They actually say a different oath than any of these offices. So this is now a moot point because it's from the Constitution standpoint, it's unconstitutional. Not based on what I said, but the Constitution said. So, and then at the end, guys, it says right here, but Congress may by a vote of 2/3 of each house remove such disability. Last time I checked, guys, for the folk in the back row, hey, is the Colorado Supreme Court a part of the House and the Senate of the U.S.? No, they're not. They're part of the Judiciary Division and on the state level, right? You see how it works? So unfortunately, guys, based on the facts, this is a moot point. This will be destroyed in the Supreme Court. Destroyed. Now you see the reasoning why the lower court, right? The lower court themselves, why they said this is unconstitutional. Just it is what it is. Now, what's their strategy for this politically? Because remember, in that first section, right? In that first section, you actually had that the lawyer that actually presented this in front of the Colorado Supreme Court. He was not really worried about the strategy. Well, there's a strategy behind this, and I believe Dan actually brings this out very well. And let's see what Dan has to say about the strategy behind this, and listen closely to the strategy. Okay, here we go.
Folks, why are they doing this? I opened up in the beginning. A lot of people said to me, well, we weren't going to win Colorado anyway, so what's the point? That's not the point. The Democrats want Trump off the ballot in multiple states. Why?
Correct.
Obviously, they want to mess with Trump and steal an election. But ladies and gentlemen, if Trump's not on the ballot, I can almost guarantee you in Colorado, almost no Republican's going to show up in Colorado to vote. Oh, what would happen? Last time I checked in a presidential election, there are what's called down ballot races to which it happens once in a while, like all the time. Because Congress is on the ballot, state measures are on the ballot, some state legislative races are on the ballot. That's why it's called, does anybody know what that day's called? It's called Election Day.
Wow.
It's not called Presidential Election Day.
Okay.
That's right. So weird.
You
get what they're doing here?
Listen.
This is going to get worse. Why are we relying on the Supreme Court? Will they save us? Probably. So, guys, he goes in a little bit more differently. So, what is their move, guys? It is to the move, and I have to give some respect to the political move, and that they're going for the win on this one, guys. Respect to them. Here is the political move. If they can downturn or really cause for a lot of the Republican side to not come on election day, that's going to affect those down ballot races as well for the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate, right? So what happens is if they can curtail the conservative side not coming on election day to vote,
Guess who actually wins the and they can kick Trump off of the ballot, and let's say, for instance, Trump becomes a nominee. Guess what actually happens, guys? They actually win the executive branch, the House, and the Senate. Brilliant political move. That is the goal right there. To curtail, to make the conservative side angry, and to curtail the turnout on election day so that they'll win all the branches of government. Brilliant political move. I gotta give it to him. I gotta give it to him. What? It's deceitful. It's cunning. It's not righteous at all, but it is brilliant. I gotta give it to him. Wow. I gotta give it to him, guys. Now, here's my reaction, guys. And thank you so much for your time. This is unconstitutional. Not because I said so, because the Constitution said so. We actually read it together. Right? We read it together. Now, if you don't come to that conclusion by reading that, you are obviously biased. Period. End of discussion. And you're not coming to this discussion from a honest standpoint. Notice how I didn't bring up anybody conservative from a legality standpoint, attorney standpoint. It was all liberals. All liberals. Right? All liberals. And we read directly from the Constitution. This does not affect the vice president or the president office at all. Because the president is the executive branch. He is the branch. He is equal to the Congress and to the judiciary branch. He is the branch. In himself, he's the branch. You see how that's different from congressional members? The congressional members, senators, and House of Representatives, they're not the branch. They are part of the branch, but they're not the branch. The president is the branch. Hence the reason why, when it came to what we saw in the 14th Amendment, it says electors of president and vice president, not the president and vice president. Very simple. Now hard to understand. And if you don't come to that same conclusion by reading that literal words from the Constitution, you're biased and you cannot be trusted at all on no levels. Period. Because you're not honest. You're biased. And if this was going on, if the Republicans were doing this to a Democrat president candidate, I'd be saying the exact same thing. Because it's about righteousness, not about political gains at all. No. This is all a political ploy. 1,000%. The move is a cunning move. So, on the conservative side, are you going to bitch and moan, or are you going to countermove? What are you going to do? It's very simple, guys. What are you going to do? Because they're not going to stop at all. They're not. It is evident. It is evident. They're going to do anything they can to try to keep this man off the ballot. Now I kind of see the political play. It's to curtail Republican turnout on election day so that they will, by default, win the House and the Senate. Very simple, not hard to understand at all. So, this is called the Countermove podcast for a reason. So, guys, what is the countermove? Very simple. I always say, peep it, sweep it, and then keep that thing. All right. So, I always begin this way. What's the peep it side? Examine your current situation. How does this make you feel? If you're driven by emotions alone, you're off base. But emotions are a part of your decision-making process. So, what are you going to do about this? These four justices are basically trying to tell you who you can and cannot vote for. Now what? How did it make you feel? Talk to me. Let me know what's going on. Comment below. How does it make you feel a little bit? Do you want someone to make decisions for you? Or do you want to make the decision yourself on who you want to vote for, who you do not want to vote for? I agree with Alan Dershowitz, who is a Democrat. He said, I want the right to vote for who I want to vote for. And I want to vote against Donald Trump. He said that in that video that we saw. He's not voting for Donald Trump at all. He's not. He's voting against him. He already said he's voting for Biden. honesty, integrity. Simple. So, but what are you going to do? Huh? What are you going to do? Now, sweep it. What is your strategy moving forward? I spelled moving wrong. What is your strategy moving forward? What's your strategy, guys? Is the strategy just going to be to bitch and moan, or what's your strategy? Very simple for me. When it comes to strategy, guys, is you see what the play is. Is this going to continue going to go vote, or are you going to go vote and bring 10 people with you? What are you going to do? Yes, this is not good. Yes, this is a constitutional issue. Yes, it is. But what are you going to do as a strategy? Are you not going to vote now if Trump is not on the ballot? Are you going to still come out and vote? Very simple, guys. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit down and talk with your U.S. House members for your district and your senators, as well as your state House and state Senate representatives and your Attorney General and Secretary of State and your governor? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I know for me, I'm like, hey, I voted you into office. You're going to earn this money, baby. We're going to talk. We're going to strategize together. Yes, sir. And if you're not pushing the ball down the field the way we want it to be pushed down the field, we're going to vote you out. Very simple. So what are you going to do about it? Here's a plan of action. Call 10 people, send 10 texts, and when you go and vote, bring 10 people with you. How about that one? Very simple to do, guys. It ain't hard. Ain't hard at all. Ain't hard at all. Period. All right? Red Pill said, I'm going to register more people to vote. Appreciate you. Yeah. That's a strategy as well, guys. All right? And now, let's keep it, guys. I always end it with this. You got to begin to start thinking generationally, right? If you are just thinking just for now, you're going to miss the whole boat. Because if this ruling stands, it changes the whole game. The whole game, guys. The whole game. It really does. Are the Republicans going to take Biden off of the ballot? That's a move you can do, Republicans. That's what you can do. Sure can. This will be a tit for tat thing. Very simple to do. Think generationally. What are you going to do? Some people tend to learn by experience, not by someone teaching them wisdom, by going through the process. That's on the table. Think generationally. I have 2 daughters. My 2 daughters may be here longer than I will be. I pray that they are. What type of world do you want them to exist in? Retreating is not an option. It's not an option. You got to get in the game. Play the narrative game and the legal game. It's very simple, guys. But guys, man, that's all I had for today, guys, man. I think that this is going to backfire on the Democrat Party. I believe it is. But I believe that the backfiring is a part of their plan, right? This is part of the plan. As we actually heard the attorney in the MSNBC video say, they are waiting for the appeal to happen. This will get struck down by the Supreme Court very quickly because they have to, which is fine. But what are you going to do? What I'm going to do is I'm going to advance the conservative ball forward, right? Which is fine. At the exact same time, guys, I'm going to call 10 people, text 10 people, and when I go vote, I'm bring 10 people with me. Got to, guys. Got to. Because they are not going to stop. And I got to give to them respect. Respect, y'all. Respect. I got to give to them. They're going for it all. They smelling it. They really are. So the question I got to ask you guys is, are you doing the same thing? Do you have the same mentality that they actually have? Because they ain't gonna stop. It's like that. They're like Diddy. Can't stop, won't stop. So is that your mentality? Can't stop, won't stop. That's mine, y'all. But guys, man, thank you so much for your time, guys. I always do this at the end, guys. Hey, every single Friday, guys, me and my partner Cliff, we have a real estate live training, guys, that we do every Friday at 5 p.m. CST, guys, man. Here's a little bit of what we kind of talk about real quickly, guys. Here's a little video, man. Let me know what you think about it. Here we go. What's good, baby? It's your boy Dale. I'm back in the saddle again. Our motto is to buy, build. We already bought it already, so we already own it, free and clear. Refinance to long-term debt, cash flow. That is the motto. Cliff, man, is that a pretty strong motto, man? What do you think?
Man, the model is strong. Like, you're getting each piece of the invest, right?
All right, guys, we have Real Estate Friday every Friday, guys, at 5 p.m. CST. Cliff and I go into real estate, guys. We look at an issue that's going on. We kind of unpack that a little bit thing, and we also give you a strategy you can use for free, guys. It's a free training every Friday at 5 p.m. CST, guys. But, guys, man, thank you, guys, for your time, guys. I should appreciate you. To be honest with you, man, hey, we have one question real quick. It says, what are the pros and cons of write-ins? Good question. In this ruling that the Colorado Supreme Court actually said, they said you can't even write them in. You can't even write them in. There's no write-ins at all. They covered everything on this on this ruling. That's how overarching it is. This is based on a legal theory, not the facts. Legal theory. So they even said write-ins. The other question is that the next best option? Well, the next best option is not that at all. The next best option is what the Colorado GOP is doing. What they're doing, guys, is they said if this was to stand, let's go ahead and kind of work in this out. If the Colorado Supreme Court, right? If the Supreme Court said, "Hey, we don't want to get involved," which I don't think they do at all. Period. This is what they would do. What the Colorado GOP said, because this is only for the primaries, not for the general election, for the primary, right? This is what the Colorado GOP said. We're just going to hold a caucus. That's it. So what it is, guys, real quickly is when it comes to primaries, these are state-ran primaries. The state is involved in primaries, right? State is involved. When it comes to a caucus, it removes the state out of the entire equation, and it's a party issue now. So the Colorado GOP said we just do a caucus instead of a traditional primary. So they do, which is to me is a brilliant move, very brilliant move by them. And they came out immediately and said that. I hope I answered your question there. I got another question. Says do I need you to show me how to stream on Instagram? For sure. You know I am, big dog. I got you, big dog. Yeah, this is my boy Deontay Blade Ford. That's my dude, my brother from another mother. If you need all things wealth management, okay, you have to qualify for him now. He the guy you want to follow, Deontay Blade Ford. That's my dude. I got to give him a shout out, guys. That's my dude, my partner, man. One of the best in the game when it comes to wealth management. Okay, Red Pill says, Iowa does a caucus. Yes, they do. They do. I don't know, Red Pill, if they do a state caucus, because I believe that primaries are ran by the state. And so if they do an Iowa caucus, well, I think you are correct. They do an Iowa caucus. You're right. You're right. They do. And so I believe you have New Hampshire does a caucus. Iowa does a caucus. And it's a third one that does a caucus as well, because those are the top three, right? They do caucuses. So caucuses are not nothing new. They're done all the time, right? So you are right on, Red Pill. They do caucuses. So the GOP said, we're just going to copy what Iowa does. Very simple. Very simple. It makes total sense. Makes total sense, guys. Again, Countermove. You can bitch and moan, but don't just stay in the bitching and moaning, right? Countermove. Right, guys? But, man, Deontay, you know I love you, big dog, all the time, big dog, for sure, man. Well, guys, man, that's all I have for today, guys. Again, thank you so much for your time, guys. God bless you. And you know how to say it every time. Before you leave, and while you can, you see that thing, take that damn picture and give it to your mama and them and say it with your chest, guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow and holler at your partner. Peace, guys.
Long live the king.